of MSMEs in job creation as well as poverty alleviation. And that is what is happening here in Kenya. The government has rolled out various initiatives aimed at addressing this challenge because statistically speaking, about 17% of all people aged below the ages of 35 are unemployed. And that is a significant portion of the Kenyan economy. And so the question is, what is the government doing to alleviate this challenge? Good evening and thank you very much for joining us. We're coming to you live from Broadcasting House. My name is O'Brien Kimani. Tonight on Inside Government, we are talking to the Principal Secretary in the State Department for MSMEs. And of course, our conversation will revolve around financial inclusion, youth empowerment, as well as enhancing the profile of MSMEs. I'm talking about job creations, among many other things. She's going to take us through this topic, and I'm talking about Susan Mangeni. She's the PS in the State Department for MSMEs Development. She's very famous for rolling out the Hustler Fund. I've had people calling her Mama Hustler Fund. Is she comfortable with that title?
Yeah, Mama Pesa Mfukoni. Mama
Pesa Mfukoni.
Yes.
Karibu sana, Madam PS, for joining us here, and of course, Asante sana.
Yeah.
Help us understand. I mean, when you look at, you know, we call it the urban crisis that is facing Africa. You know, where you have a significant portion of young people in the streets looking for employment. Does this keep you awake at night?
It does. It does. And not just me alone, but in Kenya, it does keep everybody in government awake. Why? Because if you look at the proportion of our young people, we are talking of an average, a Kenyan average. I mean, the age of an average in Kenya is 17 years. Mm-hmm. That's the average age of Kenyan. And then you're talking about nearly 70% of our population being young people. So we have a nation that is growing younger and younger every day. And that's why if we are to compare how many people are coming into workforce vis-a-vis those that are attaining the retirement age, then those that are attaining the retirement age is just, the portion is very much negligible compared to over 1 million young people who are entering the workforce. And like I said, with an average population, the age of the Kenyan population being 17 years, it means we are presiding over a young population. So what does that mean? It means several things. Number one, it means we have to find a solution in our workforce to see how do we create opportunities for young people. Again, you're looking at a workforce, a potential workforce of about 20 million Kenyans who can work, who have attained the right age of working and participating effectively in our economy, generating some sort of income, either to take care of themselves or even to generate revenues that will support economic growth. But then, only 3.5 million Kenyans are formally employed, are salaried. They have an expectation at the end of every month.
Paying pay as you earn.
Yeah, that you get the pay as you earn. The rest are plying their luck in the informal sector, almost 17 million. Then out of the 3.5 million that are in formal employment, the civil service, where I belong, only takes care of 1 million, accounts for less than 1 million. And so 2.5 million are in the private sector. So that tells us two things. That one, the only room that we have to create jobs is in the private sector. But also, if you look at the way the private sector is structured, it means we need to do a lot of work in the informal sector to pull majority of people who are applying their trade in the informal sector to gain entry into the private sector. So then it becomes the government's business, it becomes our priority to see how do we build a thriving private sector. how do we crowd in majority of our people? How do we formalize them so that they gain entry into the formal sector? What happens in the formal sector that at least you're assured of a secure job? Even if you're doing your business, you have a, like a sustainable income flow. You can take care of your bills, you can support somebody else. And also, what does it mean of us having a majority of our people in the informal sector? It means then we are facing high dependence ratio. That even these few people who are working, those who are underpaid, they're shouldering a lot of social burden. So they have to pay bills, they have to do so much, provide food and everything to support those who are in the informal sector. So because of that, the Kenyan government, through the leadership of His Excellency President Ruto, thought it wise to establish what I like calling an institutional framework, which will help coordinate the action and the focus of intentionally and deliberately growing our MSME sector, transforming it to a level where we can now have a thriving private sector in our economy that is going to open up space, create more formal jobs, have many people attached in a formal framework where they earn every month, and also reduce the overdependence, as well as also now enhancing the living standard of our population. And you see, every year we have 1 million people coming into the job market, but only about 200,000 gets somehow placed here and there.
Absorbed in the job market.
800,000 of them has spill over to the informal sector. And the same thing happens year after year, so after another. So it means we have then to increase efforts. And if you look at the better promise, the bottom-up economic transformation agenda promise that we made to the people at the bottom of the economic pyramid, who majority of them are young people, and of course women down there. And it doesn't mean that this hustler that you hear us talking about, hustler does not mean that those people don't have skills, they have not gone to school. No, they have gone to school, they have skills, they just lack enablers of transforming the ability that they have and the potential around themselves into a livelihood. That's where we are here to coordinate the sector, to coordinate the population at the bottom of the economic pyramid, organize them information, make sure that they are linked to various opportunities here, including market. They are trained, they acquire the necessary and most appropriate skills that can enable them participate effectively in the economy, ensuring that no one is left behind.
Very well. I was going through the budget estimates report, which was tabled today by the Budget and Appropriation Committee of the National Assembly, and they had something to say. They have something to say in regard to Hustler Fund, which is a signature project of the current administration. And this is what they were saying: the Hustler Fund has about 25.8 million customers. 65 billion has been borrowed. And 53 billion shillings has been repaid, leaving 12 billion shillings outstanding, with 6 billion shillings as non-performing loans. Hence, the need for a detailed report covering customer data, loan performance, and recovery strategies. Do you agree with this report?
So first of all, I want to go back to your previous question, because this conversation, we are laying it down in the context of job creation. I want to discuss Hustler Fund as an intervention, and probably why Hustler Fund and where we are today in terms of the key milestone and the impact, and whether it's leading us to job creation. So Hustler Fund as an intervention, we came up with the Hustler Fund first to correct a market failure in the mainstream financial sector. So what was this market failure? Market failure was on two fronts. One, the mainstream financial sector was non-responsive to majority of Kenyans at the bottom of the economic pyramid, who most of them, like I said, are women and young people who don't own means of production and therefore have no access to the conventional collaterals that are required in the market. So because of that, those people had to prove beyond doubt that if I loan you money today, you are going to repay. But because most of these people are not also visible, because if you are not given an opportunity to demonstrate that you can borrow and repay, then you become invisible. So the mainstream financial sector was not willing to lend to them, so they are categorized as higher risk. So once you are categorized as high risk, for you to access credit, it becomes so expensive. And also, in addition to for the credit being expensive, then you also have to find a way of securitizing it. And that's why majority of now, those people could not afford. And what happened? It created a room where now we start having predators. The lending predators coming up, especially
the micro lenders.
The micro lenders on the digital platform with excessively expensive loans. Some extent, some of them were being charged like 360% per annum. Because if I'm borrowing and you're paying an interest of 10% per day, not even per borrowing, but per day, if you were to borrow like every day, in 1 year, you would have actually, accessed your credit at 360% per annum. So which kind of business can you do that? And yet we are saying that the only space we have now to create jobs, especially self-employment, is in the MSME. So already the cost of credit is too expensive that you cannot even achieve anything out of it, even to enable you put food onto the table. And so we are presiding over poverty. If we were to allow that situation to continue uninterrupted the way it was, then we were really looking at a very gloomy future. So what did we do? So we brought in Hustler Fund. And Hustler Fund is a partnership between the market players, who are the mainstream financial institution, and then also the telcos. Because we said the only way that we can get to reach out to these people who are yet to be visible in our economy is to try and leverage on the mobile technology infrastructure. And you know we're doing well. I mean, whether you are poor or rich, at least we have the telephone and mobile telephone coverage. We've done so good on that. And we say
it's almost 100%.
It's almost 100%. So we say we can actually leverage on this innovation that we have pushed in the mobile money access and reach out. So again, also doing that, it meant that we are cutting down on some transaction cost that will obviously increase the cost of credit. So Hustler Fund is a purely digital product, and this one has enabled us now reach out to close to 26 million Kenyans that we have been able to serve in the last almost
26 million Kenyans are onboarded on Hustler Fund.
Are onboarded on Hustler Fund. But of course, as now we serve them, we also deliver behind our credit history or the data trail. So we have now been able to establish credit profiles of them and visibility from a population that was not visible in the mainstream credit market to a population that is now visible. At least because of that Hustler Fund experience of borrowing, now the mainstream financing sector are able now to assess in a very fair manner the creditworthiness of these borrowers. So what are we mitigating against?
And before you even respond to that, I mean, I remember one of the issues that Hustler Fund was coming to solve was to ensure, the millions of Kenyans who had been blacklisted had been brought into the white list. How many have been
around 4.5 million Kenyans. So the second intervention, or rather the failure, the market failure that Hustler Fund has successfully corrected, is also providing a platform for credit repair. And you see, when you go to the mainstream financial sector, once you have been blacklisted, and especially negatively listed on CRB, even if you are to pay today, it takes some time. it will take some time for your default status to become 0. And if you talk to the banks, they will tell you it doesn't take less than 7 years. So even though you would have repaid your loan, but of course of the delay, once you have been, marked as having defaulted, it takes you time. So you can imagine at the time when you were coming in, close to 8 million Kenyans had been blacklisted. And so, again, the banks or the financial institution that cause you to be negatively listed will not have responsibility to whitelist you. So it becomes your own efforts. Now, for you to be whitelisted, you have now again to have an opportunity to repair your credit. But the same institution will not give you an opportunity to repair you. So it will take you time, you'll struggle a lot, and probably you need conventional collaterals to borrow, demonstrate, and then again they start monitoring your behavior, how you. So what we did, when we sat down with these banks, we told them, look, as a government, these are our people. And just the same way we run education program, it's the same way we're going to rehabilitate these negative credits score and give them an opportunity to prove themselves, a second chance to repair their credit, so that eventually we can now get to integrate. And when they say, fine, we can give you our infrastructure to leverage on, our expertise, but we won't put in money. And so we say, these are our people, we have a responsibility to rebuild the capacity of our people, so we'll put in money. So then, of course, working closely, because we wanted to work closely so that they start now building trust around our good borrowers. So eventually, when they fully get integrated into now their mainstream credit system, so they get served without on the basis of their credit rating, as opposed again being asked to give a security or some sort of a physical collateral, which majority of them may not have. So what have we achieved so far? Because of that, that Hustler Fund experience of over 2.5 years, we have established a Hustler Fund credit rating system. So from that, it's just like a normal learning experience. After some time, we want to test you, whether you have improved or whether you still have challenges here and there and you need room to improve.
Is the credit rating system outside what we already have in the market?
It's outside what you already, at least, when you come up with a curriculum, and I will say this was like a curriculum which you're doing on nurturing credit behavior, it comes a time when you say, okay, fine, let me test whether my student have understood, whether my student have gained any new knowledge out of this experience. So this is what we've done. So we develop a rating system to help us separate. Is
it regulated by the central bank?
Yes, so we are going there. So allow me just to explain this. Okay. Yeah. First, we came up because it is us who are giving these products. It is us who are monitoring your behavior. Because remember, when we started with the personal loan product, because we have about 3 and now almost going to 4 products that we are launching as Hustler Fund. The first one, which was personal loan, established credit history, gave everybody a fair chance. It was more of universal access. Everybody will access, especially those people who wanted to rebuild their credit rating and come up with a credit score that can enable them be visible now to the mainstream financial market. So that experience was crystallized now into a credit rating system. And what are the parameters? The first parameter was how long does it take you to repay, the frequency of your loan, those the amount, and how you've been able to grow your limits. Because we did it.
And how many people have been gone through that system?
So all the 26 million beneficiaries of Hustler Fund have all been rated. Because you see,
who is in custodian of this data?
No, but we have the data. We have the data, we know. Because even you today, I don't know if you're a beneficiary of Hustler Fund.
Yes, I am.
You can tell me what is your score. Just dial *254#. You select Hustler Fund, and the first thing it will beam there, it will show you your rating. Now I want to explain what does this rating mean.
You talked about which one?
Star 254 hash.
Yeah, and I want you also to check your credit history.
Yeah, star 254 hash.
Star 254 hash, right?
Dial.
And then you dial. I hope you're doing this together.
And you don't need any airtime.
So welcome to Financial Inclusion.
Yeah.
So which one do you check?
So
Hustler Fund 1.
Pick Hustler Fund 1.
Yeah. And then welcome to Hustler. Select an option to proceed. My Hustler rating. I check that one, right?
Did you see? You check your Hustler Fund rating.
Your Hustler rating is 8 or 9. What is that?
So in the bracket, what have they put there?
A3.
Good. Congratulations.
What is that?
You're among the best borrowers we have on Hustler Fund. Yes.
Right. I mean,
have you signed up? Have you signed up on the bridge product?
No, I didn't go beyond that.
So you got to sign up now on the bridge product. I'm sure now your current limit will increase.
So who is the best? I am A3.
So it's a 9-band rating system from A1. So we have A1, which is excellent. Then we have A2, A3. Then we have B1, B2, B3. Then we have C1, C2.
So
C3.
A1
so
is
from
the best.
A is the best. So A1, of course,
which is the worst?
C3.
C3.
C3 is the worst.
What do you need to do to get to C3?
So you need to keep on borrowing, keep on repairing. I told you, Hustler Fund, we offer a credit repair mechanism. So keep on borrowing, and we're going to observe you. How many times you borrow also demonstrate your need level for the facility. If you repay your loan on time, yes, you automatically go into the next
A1, right?
No, if you are at C3, you have to graduate.
So
if you repay on time,
shows that you have not been repaying your loan on time.
You are a defaulter.
Or you have defaulted.
Probably you are, C3, from C3 to C2. These are the people most likely who borrowed the first and actually who borrowed.
These are the people who have not repaid their 12
Yeah, but you see now we know them, we have sight of them, and we have graded them.
Do you talk to them?
Yes, we talk to them.
Do you call them? Do you text them? Do you email them?
We don't call them because it's 26 million, but we talk to them. We send them texts from time to time. These who have not paid, but you know some of them.
What would you do to them if they don't repay?
No, but let me tell you what will happen first. Let me first of all talk about what we're doing, the incentives that we are giving to those who are repaying. Number one.
Before you go to that, we need to take a short break. We need to pay some bills, and then we'll come back. So
you can dial star 254 hash.
Yes.
No,
tell them again
pay
that
the
number.
bills. Star 254 hash.
Yes. If you want to check
if you are graded A or B categories, you're good to go. You graduate
move to the next level.
You move to the bridge loan, where you can even borrow up to 150,000.
And I qualify to do that?
Of course you do.
We are going to do that.
You want to borrow? Do you borrow for the sake of borrowing?
I'll respond.
You better be careful.
In private. Well, we are talking to Principal Secretary in the State Department for MSMEs Development, Susan Mangeni. Our conversation is on financial inclusion, of course, and enhancing MSMEs in the country. We are taking a short break, and thereafter we are back more. Stay right here.
Je, umewahi kuwa na deni ya KRA? Basi, usiwe na shaka. KRA wakishirikiana na KBC wamekuandalia roadshow murwa kabisa. Jiunge nasi tukufahamishe kuhusu KRA Tax Amnesty Program na jinsi utakavyoweza kusamehewa adhabu na riba na KRA. Pia, tutakuwa tunakusaidia kujaza fomu za kodi za mwaka 2024 na kukusaidia na huduma za KRA kwa mtaa wako. Ijumaa tarehe 6 mwezi Juni tutakuwa Kilifi. Tutazuru maeneo ya Sauti House kupitia GPO, Bondeni, Coast General, Nyali Bridge, Bombolulu, Kenol Nyali, Shanzu, Mtwapa, Kilifi Market, Pwani University, Gede, Matsangoni, Malindi Town, kisha tumalizia Malindi Stadium. KRA, tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee.
Want to delve on a conversation about generational patterns, generational altars.
Pia kwetu tumekwambia tumezaliwa tukiwa 6. Mimi number 5. Big number 5 wenye walikuwa mbele yangu hawako wamemaliza shule. Number 1 after kufika class 7 alitoroka actually. Akaenda Somalia kutafuta life. Yeah. Number 2 6. So unaona tunakuja kama tunarudi chini kutoka class 7. Huyu mwingine second born akadropia akiwa class 6. That born ndiye alijaribu sana. Akadrop akiwa class 3.
Class 3?
Yeah, class 3.
Na wazazi wako wanaleta noma nini?
After amechapa mtu huyu akaenda. Niliamkanga tu nikaketi chini nikaambia God, if at all it's your will, niendelee kukaa kwa hii marriage. Wacha nijue leo. Sasa Mungu ameniambiaje? Kalenga kubwa. So that's how I left. Na ni mbio. Asifikirie kuja kwa nyumba kuja pata unapaka. Ndio itakuwa tuna story nyingine mbaya. Mimi na feel something would have been done back then. Maybe kama prayers wange dig deep. Hii kitu ingetuokolea kina sisi sasa. So hiyo kitu nilionanga na ni kitu yenye jumi ndio nimeidentify hiyo shida. So nisiposimama nivunje hakuna mwenye ataivunja.
You're watching Inside Government live from our national headquarters here at Broadcasting House. We're in the company of Susan Mangeni, the PS for MSMEs Development. She's joining us here to help us understand what the government is doing to enhance financial inclusion as well and improve the status of MSMEs in this country. I mean, you were saying something. There's something you wanted to explain before we went for the break. You have the opportunity now.
So I wanted to talk about just to explain a little bit about our credit rating system. So like I said, it's a 9-band credit rating system from A1. So you A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3. So we have about 4.5 million Kenyans who are rating between A1 to B3, meaning they have got a very impressive credit behavior. And these are the people now that are eligible for being graduated to enhance a limit product, the one which we have, which is bridge loan that we launched last year in December, that is really doing well with a repayment rate of more than 90%. That 90%. Product is doing well. It shows you that the work we've done in terms of rehabilitating people and giving them an opportunity to demonstrate and I mean their credit behavior, and also having just a second chance to repair their credit has really worked. Today as we speak, we have about 9 million Kenyans who are repeat borrowers from a pool of 26 million Kenyans. And every day we are having many Kenyans turning the age of 18, and therefore the demand for Hustler Fund is real. And if you want to know that Hustler Fund is very impactful, if today I said, okay, fine, we are not...
Are you on Hustler Fund yourself?
I am on Hustler.
Do you borrow?
Of course I do, because I have to monitor.
What is your credit rating?
My credit rating is good.
It's good?
Of course.
Is it better than mine?
It's better.
Wow.
You are A3. I'm A2.
Oh.
Because of the frequency, of borrowing also matters, adds to that, because it demonstrates that you are in need of that. Remember, when you launched Hustler Fund, everybody was saying, why are you making it universal to everybody? Why are you not just targeting the hustlers? But you see, as time goes by, then you get really to get the people who are in need of this facility. So we're talking about 9 million people who are repeat borrowers, out of which 4.5 million of them are those that we as a government can now guarantee and even tell the private sector, please, these are people who have overcome what has always been there, you know, the whole thing, the moral hazard, you know, that comes with the government, you know, initiatives, especially when it comes to fund, where people say, you know, it's GOK, it's government, it's our, and it's not just Kenya alone, it's everywhere across the world. People just become lazy, and some just say this is government, and government is us, and without knowing that then, you know, if you borrow government money, and you do not repay, and you know you're supposed to repay, it is also as good as having misappropriated public resources, because you are denying the next person an opportunity to also benefit, but more importantly, you are denying yourself the next level of opportunities. And that's why...
So I have had a situation whereby people, you know, some Kenyans, I mean, they have formed a habit whereby they borrow using a certain SIM card, and then they throw it, and then they buy a new SIM card.
Here,
what is the risk of that?
The system is so tight here. We've really put we've really put on a lot of efforts. And the technology that we're using, and remember, we are leveraging on the private sector technology, the telcos, and you know, our telcos have got superior technology system, and also some of our top banks have also very superior banking system. So I can tell you the unique identifier of a hustler fund beneficiary is your ID. I don't know how smart you can be to keep on...
It's not possible to have two national ID numbers.
National ID numbers. And the beauty is that your ID number is well integrated into your mobile number.
You
remember when we did that integration? It's also integrated with your KRA.
And if you have a car, it's also integrated in your NTSA.
Absolutely. And nowadays with the e-citizen platform, where we have onboarded almost more than 22,000 government-facing services. So you find that your whole life is integrated. So you can never be smart than that system.
Do I run the risk of being denied government services because I never repaid my hustler?
It is, you see, so what is the logic of using good money on bad money? Remember, like I said, these are public resources, taxpayers' money, that are supposed to benefit the next person and also give you an opportunity to benefit again. But when you, and you know, the interesting thing is that we know these people. We know you. We know where you're borrowing from. Because you see, it is purely digital. You're borrowing through a telephone number. And from every minute we know, even every second we know where you're borrowing from. So the government has a way of
telling you, who are you? You're borrowing from where?
We know.
When you borrow, if you repaid or you didn't.
And because it is public resources, we are not really, you know, invading your private space, because this is public resources. You borrowed willingly, knowing very well that I want this opportunity to support myself. And there were terms of condition that you signed up. Nobody convened you into a meeting. You called yourself to a meeting with your telephone number, with your phone, and you were the chairman, you were the secretary, you were the treasurer. You looked at your credit limit, and you elected maybe to borrow the whole limit or half of the limit at that particular time, and you signed off. And so when it comes to repay, you're supposed to repay so that the next person can also benefit. So what we'll do...
And this is public money.
And that's what we're saying. It's public money. So those who are thinking, like I've had so many narratives around in these spaces, tulijilipa, tulipiga kura, sijua tukufanya ABCD, ni jasho. Yeah, fine. It is your jasho. But remember also, the next person also needs to benefit from this opportunity.
Because this is taxpayers' money. This is money
it is taxpayers' money. And that's why for me, I've always been confident that this money will be repaid.
At some point.
Because we know this place, these people, we know where they are. Probably we even know what they're doing. They're the same people also coming to seek services. For example, in my very own State Department, I have got other initiative, other catalytic fund. For example, I have got Uwezo Fund. The same people who form groups and want to borrow. So why would I allow someone who cannot meet an obligation of 500 shillings to participate in a group and become a burden for the rest of the group.
Let me ask you this. I have heard this from, some people that, I mean, they say, well, okay, I haven't paid. I'm not planning to pay.
They will pay.
I know at some point the government will say, all right, let's forgive them their debts.
Well,
is this likely to happen?
You see, it's not a question of just forgiving you, because also forgiving you is denying you an opportunity. Because we know these people have got means to pay.
So the government may write off
a
these
number
debts.
of people, they may not be paying, but they're very busy, betting. So leo wanakula, kesho wakuli. So why couldn't you just meet this obligation so that you have a good credit rating? In the future, you may need actually probably to purchase a property. Let me tell you, Brian, and you've been in the US. I know you've lived in the US, and you know what credit rating means and how people are beholden to a good credit score. That even if you commit a minor traffic offense, it shoots down your credit rating. Yep. Even if you had cash, you cannot purchase a property. The first thing that people look at is your credit rating. This is the culture that we want our people to embrace. It is good to be trusted so that then you have an opportunity to be served well and to be served in a very affordable way when you go to the credit market. We know these people. Yeah.
I also want to hear this because I'm still on this interface of financial inclusion, and one of the other things that I want us to discuss in the next 10 minutes is the Nyota project.
So Nyota project, we have also onboarded. If you dial *254#, we have onboarded it. There is another opportunity again that we have.
It is actually number 3 on the list.
For young people, is number 3 on the list there. So this Nyota project, so it is a project that has succeeded the Kenya Youth Employment Opportunities Project, KYOP, which was was running for the last, I think about 7 years or so, from around 2012 or thereabout. Now, so
this is a successor to KYOP.
It's a successor to KYOP. KYOP, so it's the same design. The only thing that is on Nyota that was not on KYOP was the coverage. So Nyota has got the countrywide coverage, is going to target beneficiaries from each and every ward. All the 1450 wards are going to benefit. And so it has 3 components. The first component is where we are promoting the recognition of prior learning. So we want, let's say, some of our people, especially those who have not been able to go to college, but from somehow they're able to do something, either through on-job training, like you see the fundis, the people, like you find even cobblers who are doing shoes and what, they have these skills either out of talent or just observing what people are doing, the plumbers, those people who do juakalis. And therefore they have not really gone through a formal education system or skilling system, and we feel that they're already expertise in their own way. All they need is to be subjected to some form of training, a short-term training, so that they can then acquire certification, and with that they're able to trade or to be recognized as experts in that area. So we have a provision of about 20,000. And then now
20,000 shillings?
20,000 beneficiaries. Again, all these will be distributed equitably across.
How much do they qualify?
Wait, first of all, talking about the component. So we have that component, and we'll be targeting to support about 20,000 beneficiaries across all those 1450 wards across the country. Then the second component is on-job experience. This is where, again, we want to attach our young people. And remember, our target group is between 18 years to 29 and up to 35 years if they are persons with disability, but who have not progressed beyond their secondary education. Probably they have just finished Form 4 and are not able to go to college. Probably they can't afford or what. So that's the target group that we want to work with. So we start killing the idleness and the boredom that happen around that age bracket. So this one we are targeting about 70,000 of them, again distributed equitably across all the 1,450.
So the 70,000 is from the 1,400 watts?
Yeah, so 70,000 on that component. And then we have the third component, which is now mine, which I like so much because it's business support. So this way we want to form entrepreneurship. It's a formation of young entrepreneurs. We'll be targeting to benefit at least 70 youths in each and every ward across the country. And we will take them through a very comprehensive business development program, capacity building from ideation. You know, it's always even a challenge even to know which kind of business ideas and how to, you know, develop a viable business idea. Sometimes it's a struggle to most of our young people. So we want to build an ecosystem around them. So we have recruited firms which and experts who are going to help us to take these young people through an entrepreneurial journey. At the end of that training, they'll be granted 50,000 shillings to now translate their business idea into the next level. If you like it, you can say proof of concept or something, and it will be per individual. It's not like a group. Yeah. Then from there, and of course we also want to encourage them to consider venturing into high growth sectors. For example, we want to see how agricultural value chain, the ones that we are right now promoting, like leather, textile, edible oil, building and construction, opportunities which are there. How can they also start creating enterprises out of those sectors? Because we know these are high, high value sector, if you like it. They will get higher returns out of them. And it's very easy now to grow and scale up their businesses into formidable firms, which will not just only create for them jobs, but also going to create jobs for majority of other young people. So that project, we rolled out application which closed last month. And believe you me, I'm only looking for 100,000 for the business support. But we got an overwhelming application of about 1.1 million applicants.
1 million above what you are looking
within that category. But then what are we going to do? And this is the message tonight. For our young people, all of them who applied for Nyota, is that no one will be left behind. The 100,000 are we are right now going through screening and selection, because by August we want to roll out. His Excellency the President announced that during Madaraka Day. But then the remaining 900,000, now we begin a pipeline for creating 1 million jobs. Remember, we have other interventions, some are existing, some we are coming up with. All these young people, who have come up, young people who have come up and have expressed the intent to venture into business. So this becomes our focus, and we are going to work with them, all of them, every young person who applied for Nyota project, even if they will not be successful to be part of Nyota. But we are going to build an ecosystem around them, and we are going to organize them in a manner that they'll be able to access other opportunities.
Very well. Madam CS, PS, because I can see also, we also have about 2 or 3 minutes from now. I mean, every time I put you on this show, you enumerate beautiful programs, beautiful proposals by the government. And the question then comes, are the young people or the target audience, do they know about these opportunities? If no, what are you doing about ensuring that they get to know this? I know, I always face this question. I believe they know about these opportunities. What probably they do not know is how to translate these opportunities into dividend, to become dividends to them, or how to maximize on these opportunities. Because when we rolled out, for example, application for Nyota, and we're just looking for 100,000, we ended up having 1.1 million. And we've said now that we have sight of these young people who have expressed an interest, now we begin a journey of seeing how do we now reorganize them around other existing opportunities towards at least creating 1 million jobs. Now,
when it comes to Hustler Fund, I know many people say, oh, nobody knows, but how will we get 26 million Kenyans apply if they didn't know? How will we get 9 million Kenyans who borrow this every day? But I think I agree with you. We need to do more sensitization around it. And I think the level of sensitization that is needed is that one of close monitoring and hand-holding, so that we become more intentional in our approach, saying, here is an opportunity, and here, this is how we are organizing you to enable you access and utilize that opportunity. I think probably that has been the gap.
Yeah.
And we want now to begin doing this closely with these 1.1 million young people that have come forward and have said, hey, I'm interested in business support.
Very good. And as we always say, I mean, you know, a good idea must always give way to a better idea, and a better idea must always give way to the best idea.
Yep.
What are your final comments before we call it a night?
So my final comments, I want to assure Kenyans, especially hustlers, because that's where the space in which I operate in, that all the promises that President Ruto made, we are on the path of achieving. In fact, if I were to put it, because looking at the various milestones that we have made on a number of interventions, for example, affordable housing. Affordable housing has created for my hustlers, currently as we speak, close to 250,000 jobs, directly and indirectly. And towards the end of this program, we hope to have created at least 1 million jobs, directly or indirectly. Sometime back, I think about 2 months ago, I visited one of the sites of affordable housing just to interact with the Juakalis and all these mercenaries and fundis. And I met this young man who said, you know, I never imagined that I can own an ATM. You see the way they have even structured the payment system. I never imagined that me, coming from this village, I can own an ATM where now I can be able to plan my financials. Today, I'm happy. Through this program, I have a regular, earning system. I have my ATM. I can now plan my life. I can now see how to save, how to build. And I'm hoping that this project can go on at least for the next 5 years, so that I can plan out myself. So there's quite a number of things that have happened from affordable housing. If you look at the market, I see people saying, what is it that you've done for Mama Mboga? Look at the markets. Over 272 markets right now. Modern market with cold storages that are going to support our Mama Mboga, give them some sort of decency in terms of where they're trading and enable them sustainable. Yeah, and you see, our target is at least to have 2 markets in every constituency. This is going to transform. And as we construct, we're also creating jobs. Today, the affordable housing alone has ring-fenced almost 11 billion. They're procuring from Juakalis the doors and the hinges and the windows and all this. Look at 11 billion. What does it mean to my Juakali industry, to the metal works industry, to the woods, the welders and everybody? So if you ask yourself, what has this government done? We have done a lot. And for those who are in agribusiness, do not forget about fertilizer. Don't forget about fertilizer. I mean, subsidy.
I know,
all these interventions are focused for hustlers. Thank you.
We will definitely come back and discuss more.
Thank you.
Your time is highly appreciated, Madam PS.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you.
We've been talking to Susan Mangeni, the Principal Secretary in the State Department for MSMEs Development, helping us to understand what the government is doing to enhance financial inclusion among young people as well as MSMEs. You have been watching Inside Government. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Wairimu Jenga is coming up next with the Prime Edition. My name is O'Brien Kimani. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Asante.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kenya. Wake up with Good Morning Kenya, the morning show that's got it all.
We dive deep into issues shaping our country.
Youth are a voice of a nation.
What is the next step for the young people?
Unpacking political landscape from Monday to Wednesday.
We discuss family matters.
It is very important to guard your relationship.
And for your health,
someone doesn't wake up and they become an addict. It's in stages.
We've got you covered each and every Tuesday at 9 a.m.
Every Wednesday, it's all about The Viewpoint.
A day in politics is like 1,000 years.
Unpacking the biggest stories of the week, getting you insights and getting you ready for your day.
And the package is not yet done. I get to fix your Thursday with some entertainment. Entertainment Thursday, it is.
Good morning, Kenya.
We shape your day.
Good morning, Kenya. Every weekday morning on KBC Channel 1.
Friday night again. Greetings in the name of the Most High, Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the positive warrior, alongside...
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party in 254 in a yard extra. Extra niceness of reggae music.
Extra dose of entertainment.
When the thing is nice,
we have to do it twice.
Nineteen nations will compete in the Total Energies CAF African Nations Championship, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania 2024, which will be staged from 2nd to 30th August 2025. Amongst the 4 groups in the tournament A to D, Kenya is pooled in Group A, together with Morocco, Angola, DR Congo, and Zambia.
Algeria from the set piece, the header is on target, but it's...
This unique competition featuring the best locally based players from across the continent definitely